morning, everyone, and welcome to the China Ready webinar. Pleased to invite Ms. Juliana Kwa, Executive Director of Greater China Singapore Tourism Board, to say a few words. Juliana, please.
Morning, everybody. Can everybody see me? Okay. Morning, everybody. Hello from Beijing, and congrats to all our Singapore stakeholders who've managed to move into phase 2. So first of all, a very big thank you to all of you for joining us today for our very first China Ready webinar. The context of why we decided to organize this is really, I'm sure many of you have heard that the Chinese digital companies are just growing and changing at a super fast pace. And together with our Chinese consumers rapidly becoming more sophisticated as well, and going direct to many of these digital platforms, we thought it's important for all of our Singapore stakeholders to at least have an understanding, or even better, perhaps start using some of these digital platforms to do your marketing or even do your conversions. A second big thank you to our Chinese digital platform stakeholders who are with us today. We have Yanjie from Bytedance, Edison from Trip.com, as well as Derek and Angela from Alibaba. Thank you all for taking time out to share in depth with our stakeholders today. So today is the first of our 2 workshops. If you've not managed to sign up for tomorrow's one, don't worry. Or if your friends haven't managed to sign up for today's one, the sessions will be recorded, so you'll be able to get a sense of them after the sessions as well. So today is really a 101 session. We hope to be able to do an even deeper dive into each of these platforms because there's so much that they can offer in person, sometime in Singapore, sometime later this year or next year. So without further ado, I hope all of you enjoy today's session and find it useful. Do give your feedback so that we can improve it along the way. And I'll pass it on to Nikki, my Area Director for Northern China now.
So very good morning to all of our stakeholders, and thank you very much for taking the time out today to be here with us. And like what Jules have mentioned, there is a very challenging and evolving digital landscape. So today, we want to dive deeper to share with you a bit about our consumer journey. So we know that in China itself, they are offered, or Chinese visitors are offered unparalleled convenience as well as customization for their domestic travel. So we like to bring you on a trip following a domestic traveler to give you a better understanding of the landscape in China, to also find out a little bit more of what are some of the additional tools that were used, how they were used, and why are they useful. So for the purpose of today's sharing, we'll follow Liu Jing. She's a web designer and based in Beijing. So she's currently planning for a 3-day, 2-night getaway because there's what we call a 小长假 coming up. So let's follow her to see how she arrived at her decision, as well as what are some of the tools that she used in between. So first up, in order for her to decide where to go, she dived right straight into her social media. So she scrolled through WeChat Moments, her Weibo, and checked through Douyin videos to get some inspiration. Some of these very interesting Douyin videos on Xi'an, as well as the terracotta warriors, caught her eye. And she decided maybe it's a good time for me to head over to Xi'an. Well, if you can take a look right here on your bottom left, there's a little blue box. So what it does is a little cheat sheet to let you know what's the Singapore equivalent of these platforms, in case you're not as familiar. So the point I want to highlight here is that on average, a user have only about 3 seconds attention when they're scrolling through their social media. So content developed for the awareness or this stage should be kept short, interesting, and punchy, because the key thing is to get the user to want to click on it to find out more. So something short or interesting could be like this. doesn't give me a direct sense of the exact destination, it does make me feel like I should potentially but visit all these various landscapes throughout China because they are so interesting. So next up, since you've decided, okay, I'm going to Xi'an, she looks into MaFengWo to check out a 3-day itinerary. What can she do when she's there? So to our surprise as well, MaFengWo provided information, destination information, not only on the Terracotta Warrior Museum, but also on what other things she can do, eat, play, and have fun all around Xi'an. So you can see here as well, not just a suggested itinerary, she also received tips on what are the apps that she should download in order for her to navigate Xi'an a lot better. So one of the interesting things to note here is that a lot of this content are interwoven together. So not just on a particular attraction, but on the entire precinct. So might be good for our precinct associations like our friend, my dear friend, Oba, to also have a think about whether it's feasible for all the stakeholders to band together to create a more interesting listing so that you could keep the visitors in the precinct longer and hopefully increase spend. So once she's decided on the 3 days itinerary, she has a rough idea of what she wants to do. She proceeds to trip.com to make her booking for her air tickets as well as her hotel. While she's at it, she also take a look at some of the customized tour or something like a passion tour, you know, for foodie or for shopaholics like myself. What are the other interesting places or tours that she can opt for? And once she booked that, Trip.com actually generates an itinerary based on her various bookings, so it's very easy for her to refer to during her trip. So we'd like to highlight here as well, you can see that there's a lot of opportunities for cross-selling of different, for our different stakeholders. For example, if she hits, Liu Jing just head on over to book her air ticket, but at the same time, she will be looking at hotels and then of course, looking at some of the local tours option. So if you're already listed on the Chinese digital platform, there's apart from just sharing listing of your product, there's also a lot of opportunities for you to cross-market and cross-sell. So while she's all ready to go, she arrived in Xi'an today and she did a quick check-in into a hotel. So you might notice that this particular screen, this particular format is actually the Fly Zoo Hotel by Alibaba. Happy and sad to share at the same time that not all hotels in China are equipped with such technology just yet, but it's definitely safe to say that all the hotels in China, as well as potentially globally, are heading towards this next generation of hotel, like a smart hotel concept. So when she checks in, it's a very seamless and contactless process. She just scans her face for that check-in, and then once she proceeds to the room, because it's a smart room, she can command all the various appliances over voice command. And then when she decided that she wants to head to the gym for a workout, she can choose to have her virtual personal instructor to work out Pilates or yoga class for her. So I would like to encourage hotel stakeholders who are with us here today to have a think about what are some of the digital enhancement that you might want to do during this period, because I think moving forward, definitely we're all looking towards a more contactless, seamless, but also enjoyable experience for our visitors. And the next morning, Liu Jing would be heading towards the Terracotta Warrior Museum. In the morning, she feels hungry. She scans her face to pick up a sandwich at a nearby convenience store. And because her face is already registered on the Alipay account, she can just tap it through the subway gantry by using her Alipay account. Arriving at the destination, she realized people are queuing up under the hot sun to get tickets. That's not gonna happen for her. She doesn't want to sweat out so much. So she scans the nearby QR code that lead her to the official WeChat account to purchase the tickets. But being a savvy traveler she is, she also checks C3 and Meituan Dianping to find what's the best deal for her. And right now, once she's through to the museum, she immediately opened up the museum mini program. So the mini program here, it's not just useful because it offers a map, but also it offers her a suggested route for her, as well as audio guide, food and shopping options. And at any point, if she's lost or she needs some help, she can activate the chatbot function as well. So what I would like to share a little bit more here is that think of mini program not just as a listing of your information, think of it almost as an on-site helper for our visitors to navigate the place or navigate the particular attraction. And also think of it as a helper for your business because it can help to plug existing gap. For example, if you do not have a Chinese tour guide today, you can easily activate the option to use an audio guide to guide our visitors through their experience. And when it comes to experience, we all know that technology is very important for us to look into, because I am sure a lot of our stakeholders will share the sentiments that to constantly upgrade the hardware to engage our consumer, it's not exactly feasible. However, maybe we could consider doing this technology or engagement through software instead. And I'd like to share that, Liu Jing, when she's in the museum, she has a lot of fun with technology. She can actually superimpose herself as an empress. She can travel back in time to a scene. She can also interact with some of the artifacts available at the museum. So what it does is that technology is not just important to create the engagement with our visitors. It is also very important because it creates advocacy. So what it does here is that once Liu Jing superimposed herself as the empress, she's very excited to share with her friends. So she posted on WeChat Moments and Weibo, and she had an interesting interaction with the artifacts immediately. She shared it on Douyin. What it does here is that with all the branding awareness as well as marketing that you've invested, you want people to share about your attraction, you want people to share about your brand. And this is what exactly it does, because it makes it very easy for sharing and makes it very, and we all know, that sharing online or advocacy is very important, because a lot of key, say, restaurants, places, or even cities are made very popular because of such videos that went viral. So now she has experienced the whole museum in the morning and also finished her sharing. She's now really hungry, and she has just left the museum, and she opens up her Meituan Dianping app to search for some ideas on where to go next for her lunch. So what the app does is that it can filter your search by proximity, types of cuisine, and of course, further filter it by reviews, ambiance, service price, etc. So what it does is that you can sort your view by rankings, depending on your preference. And then immediately she can make a reservation online. She can also get direction very easily. But of course, at the same time, she also checks the app to see if there are actually special coupons or lunch special deals that she can redeem. So now that she's done with her meal, she loved it, she decides to post a photo about it and write a short note for the restaurant, and then she proceeds to pay via Alipay and WeChat Pay by scanning a QR code that's on the table. So I'd like to pause a little bit here to just share that it's also very important to encourage review. And why is that so? Is because both user-generated content, UGC, as well as reviews by user are in a very mature state in China. So people actually rely very heavily on such information to make their decision, whether it's to visit a destination or to visit a restaurant. So today we know that advocacy is very important. So can maybe have a think about how then can you encourage people to do sharing or encourage reviews. So a personal sharing of mine is that I recently, before something had the recent cluster in Beijing, I went to quite a famous Peking duck restaurant in China. And when I was about to order the dessert, the server actually told me, I saw that you've enjoyed the meal today. Would you like to post a review of you and your friend enjoying our meal? And then the dessert is on the house. So something as simple as that could also encourage user to share more reviews. And of course, when it comes to scanning the QR code to pay, I would like to also share that apart from that, in some of the restaurants, they actually allowed the scanning of the QR code to order the meal. So that might be particularly useful for the F&B stakeholders who are with us here today, because what it does is that either the app or the mini program would actually translate the menu for you. So you don't have to struggle to explain what is bokala in Chinese. So with that, I will end my first part of sharing and move on to the next portion, which is something that you might be very concerned about as well in light of COVID-19. What are some of the emerging trends that we are seeing? So I'd like to highlight three key trends that we're seeing today. So number one being the increase in time spent online as well as the rise of virtual travel. So we know, of course, with more people spending time online at home, they will also want to travel, but they can't do it, so they have to do a virtual travel. So please do also share that domestic destination as well as overseas destination have started to come on board and invest in developing short form tour videos as well as participating in live streaming sessions. So for example, MaFengWo's virtual travel campaign saw over 100 million views in just 5 days. So as tourism stakeholders like you and I, we want to have a think about, do we have interesting digital content to sustain interest and maintain visibility of our brand, of our business during this time? Because unfortunately, COVID-19 might stretch out a bit longer, and we want to have a sense of whether we have that digital bank for us to continuously engage our audience. The second trend I would like to share is that live streaming, which is known as 直播 in China, is now also an avenue to drive conversion. So we have heard a success story from C-Trip. They might be sharing more later during the session today, that there is a 1 hour broadcast, and it generated sales of over 26 million renminbi in total. So as stakeholders like ourselves, we have to think about how do we drive conversion online and what are the available platforms for me to subscribe to. And the last trend I would like to share today is in terms of the shrinking travel group size as well as the increase. So we know that today, unfortunately, large group tours is not likely to resume in the immediate term. So what we see here is a shift towards more FIT. So it could be independent traveler, it could be couple or smaller family units. But the upside to this is that with that, people are now more willing to spend on customized travel. So they don't mind investing a little bit more for health and safety reason, for a safer, almost like a bubble wrap type of itinerary, for them to reduce contact, but also continue to enjoy their trip. And of course, in light of the advanced digital ecosystem, as well as the COVID-19 situation, how are we as TV also responding to some of these trends that we're seeing? So I'd like to share with all our stakeholders today that STB is constantly looking at ways to creatively expand our online presence and to deepen the engagement with the consumers. And on top of that, in previous campaigns, we have incorporated link-ups to Singapore stakeholders who already have presence on the Chinese digital platform in order for them to drive conversion. So one example would be the Visit Singapore mini program. It's a one-stop platform to give visitors an idea of what to eat, see, and do in Singapore. And we're considering now to do a future link up to Torigo tax refund mini program. And hopefully in the future, we can do a link up to Singapore arrival card to provide greater convenience for our visitors. And in terms of continuously driving interesting and engaging type of digital content, we have worked with partners like Douyin, MaFengWo, as well as Tencent. In the example of Douyin and MaFengWo, we created direct link outs to our partners, SIA, Scoot, as well as relevant attraction partners, for them to do a direct conversion as part of our campaign. And we've also leveraged Tencent, very interesting gaming technology, QQ Li Mi Xiu. Think of it as a Chinese version of The Sims. So created a Nyonya avatar and place her against, and you can choose to place her against very interesting and iconic landscape of Singapore. And of course, the second trend that we've shared earlier with regard to live streaming being an alternative revenue to generate or to drive conversion online. So currently we are working out some ideas with trip.com as well as other relevant partners and also KOLs to see how we can tap on this new platform to explore how do we cross-sell and how do we link up with our Singapore stakeholders. So this in itself, coupled with the earlier example I shared, are a good ways that, for Singapore stakeholders who already have established a presence on on the Chinese digital platform to be featured as part of our campaign to allow allow us to feature you very easily and conveniently and to drive that conversion. And not to worry, for stakeholders who have not yet come on board the Chinese digital platform, we have some ideas for you. We are working on alternatives for the longer term, but in the interim, we'd like to share two programs that you might be keen to participate in. So these two programs are Passion Made Possible Privileges, PMPP, in partnership with Alibaba, as well as I Go Singapore in partnership with ICBC. So what both program does is that they aggregate privileges, deals, and offers across different pillars to our Chinese visitors. And when you're on board their campaign, naturally, you'll be featured on on the Chinese digital platform as part of the campaign. And at the same time, you'll also be featured within their ecosystem. So what it does is that it allows our stakeholders who are not yet ready, not too sure about whether they want to jump on board this digital bandwagon, to test out the desirability of their brand or their product with the Chinese visitors. So we will share the contact information towards the end of the presentation. And then, of course, with regard to the last trend that I've highlighted in terms of the shrinking group size, we are considering to hold a tour innovation workshop that is more FIT focused to link up both trade partners from China as well as Singapore to brainstorm some ideas to look at what are some of the evolving travel products that we might need to look at. Should we be looking to customize some of them further in order to cater to this new landscape? And secondly, in line with to continue to upskill our stakeholders, we'd like to also explore the option of having a China-ready workshop 2.0, where we deep dive into each of the platforms that you'll hear about later on, as well as tomorrow, to offer you a better insight in terms of what is the business investment required. Is it sustainable to do it long term? What are some of the other ways and unique opportunities I can explore? So it is very important for us to know your feedback on today's session, as well as let us know if something like this is what you might want to explore in the longer term, so that we could plan more of such workshop or webinars for you. And of course, we are very, very happy to know that some of our Singapore stakeholders have already come on board and embarked on their digital journey by either tapping on our STV's Experience Step Up Fund or on their own accord. So Torigo as well as Wing Tai are ESF recipient. So very happy to know that they have launched their mini program to interact with Chinese visitor. And we also know that RWS have also launched a mini program of their own, offering not just content, but on-site assistance as well as deals and promotion for our Chinese visitors. So some thought starters today before I hand over the time to our presenters. So number one, when you go into the presentation, I think it would be good to have a think about what are some of the features and functions of various platforms that might work better for you, for your business. What could best be, would it be also sustainable for me to work on this platform for a longer term, or maybe on a campaign basis? And then secondly, identify what is that core business need or gap that you are facing today in targeting the travelers. What do you want the travelers to know about your business? And then last but not least, after today's session as well as tomorrow, feel free to continue to engage the platform to find out a little bit more in terms of what are the unique opportunities that you might have that you can pursue with this platform. And with that, I'll end the sharing of STV today and hand over the session to our presenters. So first up, I will like to invite Bytedance to share with us. Bytedance is a multinational technology company headquartered in Beijing. And most of you will be very familiar with their core content platform, namely Douyin in China and the international version known as TikTok. So very pleased to have with us today Ms. Li Yanjie, Senior Director of Marketing Strategy, Ocean Engine, to share a little bit more about Bytedance with us and to offer our stakeholders some ideas in terms of how to create engaging content. So take it away, Yanjie.
Okay, thank you, Nikki.
Let's give her a quick moment to do the setup, and like what Juliana has highlighted earlier, in case you're dropped off at any point of the presentation, not to worry, the recording of today's session will be uploaded online and we'll share more detail when ready. So over to you, Yanjie.
Okay, can you hear me? Right? My sound is okay, right? Okay.
Great.
Thanks, Nikki, and for giving us the whole picture of normal people's traveling experience in China. It's when you're talking about the Liu Jing's experience, it's like my own story. Yeah. And hi everyone, I'm Yanjie from Bytedance. And it's really my honor to be here to share something about Bytedance, about Douyin. And then, as you can see in the screen, there are two logos here. One is Bytedance, 字节跳动, and one is Ocean Engine. They call it 巨量引擎 in Chinese. Yeah, so let me explain this relationship between these two words firstly. And so Bytedance is actually our name of our company, right? And we have lots of applications that are popularly used all over the world, and like Douyin, like TikTok, like Toutiao and Topbuzz. And the Ocean Engine is belong to Bytedance, of course, but it is a business department which responds for the business revenue. What we do is we research how to match the client's needs, how to sell our products, how to help our clients to do business on our platform. And we do lots of work about planning, about creativity, about data research, about launching some projects and so on. And we study different industries as well. And so this whole proposal is all about how to do the travel business on Douyin. And it consists of 3 parts. First of all, I will have a general introduction of Bytedance, especially for Douyin. And secondly, we gave some advice about how to attract people to having a tour to Singapore. And the third part is about how to create some good and creative content on Douyin. Yeah. So let's kick off the first part, who we are. So here are some products here of our company, and some are globally products and some are products that only can be used in China. And one of the keywords of our company is globalization, because with all the products we have covered like 75 languages and covered 150 countries all over the world and have more than 1.5 billion users globally. And so like this, I don't know if you are familiar with this product like Toutiao. You can get some news and messages on this app, and Douyin, you can watch some short videos on Douyin, and Huoshan and Xigua longer videos. And FaceU and You, like many Chinese young girls like this app because it's a camera app that you can take very beautiful pictures. And Dongche Di is about the auto car application. Yeah, so this our company is quite like a global company. Yeah. So one more keyword for our company is centralization. So since we have been enlarging the ecosystem of China, the internet ecosystem of China, so people are spending more and more time on our products. And as you know, Douyin and Toutiao like this, they're not like the WeChat or WhatsApp that you have to use it because you have to communicate, you have to work. But Toutiao and Douyin is that like people use it when on their free time, on their relaxed time. So it's quite like a habit for Chinese people now to search messages on Toutiao and watch some fun videos on Douyin, right? So you can say that the proportion of the users spending time has increased year by year. And believe or not, short video is definitely the trend that makes users demands. So we really can do lots of things on short videos. And if you haven't done some marketing things on short videos, maybe we can start to do something on it because users are there. Okay, so in China, if there are 3 people, probably one of them is a loyal user of Douyin. So the daily domestic active users are 400 million, and the average daily usage time is more than 1 hour, is 69 minutes. So it's quite really a huge platform nowadays in China, and especially young people. But however, we all know that in 2020, every country and every person met the Black Swan incidents. The COVID-19 has disrupted all our plans, especially for travel industry. But what we should to rethink, maybe with this issue, maybe we can restart to think the current problems in the tourism marketing. So we just conclude 3 lowlights of our current tourism industry. Firstly, we think that we quite lack of the online communication channels for some brands, because traditional tourism industry lacks the awareness of brand building, but mainly focused on the offline sales. So during this epidemic, losing the offline means lose everything. You lose the communication with people. You lose the connection between your brand philosophy and the travelers. Secondly, I think it's the lack of the disseminated content and the content operation. So during this period, some brands start to switch to build their online communication channels, but due to lack of the content operation experience, it always pay more than get. Yeah. So the thirdly is that the marketing methods are a little bit traditional. I'm not sure if you know that lots of people traveled with Douyin at home, with Douyin Live. So stay at home, you can travel all over the world with the guidance of the resort. So maybe for some new things, we should be more active to try it and to enjoy it. Yeah. So why saying that is that because we see the number of the tourism videos viewed during the epidemic, and you can see that the users' demand of the tourism content of Douyin increased significantly. So the viewed videos numbers reached the peak during the Spring Festival, the January 25th, the Spring Festival in China, and you can see the peak is here. And after 5 days later, we ended our Spring Festival holiday and start work. But the view number is still very higher than before. You can see this benchmark is here. So it's like people have the demands to say something, to say some tourism things on Douyin platform. Yeah, so like why did it happen? Why the number is so high during the epidemic period? That is because that one reason we think that is because we travel a lot at home with Douyin life, as I said before, and you can enjoy like the Wuhan's blossoms at home, and you can watch what is happening on South Pole, and you can get some knowledge through the museum tour. So more and more users are discovering the beautiful destination all over the world and all over China during the special period. And more brands are starting to spread their brand with Douyin nowadays. So back to the theme, how for Singapore, how to attract people to Singapore, and how to create a popular place on Douyin, and so that anyone who goes to Singapore will go to there and go to your place to check in. So we have 3 steps to set off a tourism boom in Singapore. So step 1 is get people to discover you and to see you. And the second step is get people to longing for you. And third one is get people checking in Singapore. So let's go to the first part, how to let the people to discover and notice about Singapore. So we have 3 basically ways. So one is very important because we see many popular cities gained a lot of users attractions on Douyin. So one is that make a strong story, make a strong city image, because many Chinese people first impression of Singapore is it's a little bit small and you can live just 1 or 2 days to Singapore, and that is enough, because the city, I mean the Singapore, the country, its culture cannot be seen by us, and people are, and what we can say is too limited, and now because no one tells us. So refine the cultural elements and to create a city card, a city image through the video is very important. So for example, Xi'an, I don't know whether you have been there before, and Xi'an is a really great city and Asian city in China, and it becomes very popular on Douyin nowadays. So maybe let's just check this first video first, and I will talk the story of Xi'an.
有一座城市，它让人难以割舍；有一种怀念，它叫做曾经来过。
Yeah, so this video shows a city culture that you drink the wine and shatter it and do not vary anymore. And the second video here.
西安人的城墙下是西安人的火车，西安人不管到哪儿都不能不吃泡馍。西安大厦高楼4连的一座一座，在西安。
Yeah, so because Xi'an is an Asian city and this has a very long history, and so this restaurant made some special food like the writing brush and mahjong to attract people to check in. Say the third. So this video has the highest number of the viewers in 2019. It's a beautiful girl that wears an Asian costume and is waiting for the people from all over the world to come and to shake hands with her. And it's really popular in China. And many people just want to go to Xi'an because they want to shake with the girl. And so it's really attract many people to go to Xi'an through Douyin. And all of this has, because that they made a strong image of Xi'an. A lot of people start to think that, to know that Xi'an has so many things to discover and so many culture to discover. And in 2019, the total income from Labor Day, which was just 4 days, the income of Xi'an is like 4.5 billion because there are so many cultures that people want to discover. So strong, a city brand's image is very important. Sorry. So secondly, we can fully use the platform technology because Douyin is creating creative user technology every day. I mean every day. So for example, the landmark AR is just a very important and funny technology that people can use it and to show the videos. Let's see the videos first.
Douyin?
Yeah, it's very easy. You just use your phone and then you just scan the building and it will be quite like this. And you can share the video and upload on Douyin and many people can see it and many people be attracted to be there and share more videos and that the place become more and more popular. So that's to highlight city landmarks and use the Douyin's technology as well. Yeah, and to let more people know you, and you should create a leaderboard because people like to check the top attractions, like the top resorts, top malls, top hotels. People want to follow other people's advice. So create a leaderboard is really very important as well. So there's some leaderboard in China. Yeah, so after people know you and begin to notice you, so what you should do next to let them login for you. So how to create the popular content on Douyin. So in my view that the first secret is that to try to create a unique personality and convey your brand philosophy through it. Because personality really can make you stand out from the crowd. So for example, this girl has a strong personality of that she is the one who knows best of the Forbidden City. So the video, maybe we can watch the video first.
怎么办呀？不小心给您给撞了。
下次小心一点，故宫有这么多游客呢，你撞到我还好，你要撞到别人就没那么好说话了。
好不容易来一趟故宫，现在是淡季，4点半就关门，现在都1点了，我今天肯定逛不完了。
你别着急，我告诉你一个3个小时就能逛完故宫精华的绝佳路线，来。 你看，你从午门进来，一直往前走，穿过太和殿、保和殿，出来继续向东走，进入珍宝馆。珍宝馆内啊有珍妃井，你从珍妃井出来之后啊，你向南通过长长的走道，就可以到达延禧宫、景阳宫和永和宫。之后呢，再一直往西北方走，就能到达御花园了。
那慈禧老妃的宫殿呢？
接着往西走啊，储秀宫、长春宫你都能看到。逛完西六宫，从西六宫出来，再绕回到故宫的中轴线，一直走到头就是神武门啦。
你也太厉害了吧！你是不是天天来故宫溜达呀？
时间不早了，您快抓紧时间游览吧。
谢谢。
虽然不是每天都溜达，但我真的是对故宫很熟悉呢，因为我是故宫小姐姐呀。
抖音
Yeah. This girl has 1.5 million people users follow her on Douyin, and it's a very short video. It's only 1 minute, but the topic is how to make a 3-hour tour in Forbidden City. So why people want to follow her is that because people have the needs to acquiring the knowledge of the cities and the attractions, and she made you longing for going to the Forbidden City. And so so maybe what we should do is that we can get started on Douyin and start a unique personality of your own resort. And the secret too is that being a good storyteller. So we also have 3 cases to show the 3 suggestions about how to tell the story. So the first one is that a good saying is the beginning of a good story. And because this is an example that we have done for Baishi Mountain. It's in Henan province in China. And to let people impressed by Baishi Mountain, we create an idea that the Baishi Mountain is we make the Baishi Mountain a holy place for love. So we create many love stories and love videos to attract the couples to go to there, and it really works. So maybe we can watch this first. Sorry.
天青色等烟雨，而我在等你。炊烟袅袅升起，隔江千万里。在平地书汉里放前朝的飘逸，就当我为遇见你伏笔。
抖音
So it's a love music, and the girl in the red costume and just is saying that she is waiting for someone she loved. And use this whole video, it can also show the beautiful scenery. So it's really emotional and attractive. The second video.
白石山是我们这里的爱情圣地，我拍了它30年。我叫老孟，30年前买相机，在农村是会被人笑话的，只有我媳妇儿支持我。我要带她爬一次这座爱情名山。她在家忙里忙外，也没出门走走，就这样陪了我33年。 下一个33年，我还要带他来白山看云海。
So this
抖音
Yeah, so this video is also 1 minute, and it told a love story about local people who lived in Baishi Mountain. And the man really likes to take pictures, and his wife just unconditionally support him. And one day he just took his wife to this place where she has visited countless times, and said that they will be together during the next 33 years. So it's like they're talking about the love story, because we want to make people believe that going to Baishi Mountain is becoming a symbol of love. So it's really attract many people go to Baishi Mountain and many couples. Yeah, so the second way to tell the story is that maybe sometimes the strange stories usually are good stories. So because strange stories always give people a very bright feeling and different feeling because of the geographical characteristics. Weirdly reasonable stories can arouse everyone's curiosity. A swimming pool is in the sea, shattered wine, the hotel with underwater world, and a landmark to swallow a subway. If you can check how does the man to swallow this subway. Many people have shared the video in this view to swallow the subway, and Chongqing becomes a very popular city on Douyin, and is very well known as a four-dimensional city in China, and many people just were very longing for to go to there and to swallow the subway or to share some other strange videos and upload on Douyin. And so it has many strange buildings in Chongqing, and the results are very attracting people to discover as well. So maybe sometimes strange stories usually are good stories. And the third case tells us that maybe the strong contrast can make a good story. Because I don't know Dunhuang, if you know Dunhuang, and Dunhuang is a very famous monument in China, and everyone's impression of Dunhuang is a very magnificent historical scenic spot. But let's watch this video. It's quite funny because for this scenic spot, contrast is not only a proof of inclusiveness, but also a symbol of youth. You are a historical resort, but you are still very young, and you can use the young function to spread your brand philosophy and get the resort lively and young people want to go to there and go to travel. So it's the third one that maybe a strong contrast can be used for. So the part 3 is let's go and travel in Singapore. Here's the data of Douyin's users' favorite foreign cities, and Singapore is in the top 3. And the first 2 are showing Korean and Train, how to say that in Vietnam. So we have to broad and potentially market in China, and people really want to go to Singapore as well. So I'd like to introduce some best used tools of Douyin, like how to guide the tourist to consume in Singapore. So the first one we call is POI. It means point of interest, and it's a address to that when you upload a video, and you can choose to add a detailed address on it, and so when people browse the videos and they have they are interested in this video, and they can check where it is and know how to get there. So, and you can also buy some tickets on this page and get some introduction of this resort. Yeah, and you can also add a POI during the Douyin Live. So POI is a very important tools on Douyin for travel. And the second tool we use most is the hashtag challenge. And it's quite like create a brand content with all Douyin users. And maybe we can just make a very interested tag on Douyin and let more the users on Douyin to join you and to create more videos with you. And on this tag page, you can also have your product messages here on it. Here are some examples that we have in the hash challenges things. And it's really many people want to join it and create your brand's messages and your brand's contents. And here is an example, actually, they have made for Resort World Sentosa. And we have combined our 3 apps to promote the Resort World Sentosa as an integrated resort. And we use VisU because many girls and many young people like use VisU to shoot videos, right? So we target on the younger generation and we like them to have the branded effect first. And then we just launch a hashtag, a challenge on Douyin. And the name we call this that this is my vacation, show me yours. And like more people to enjoy to show their vacation things, videos. And then we have the PR communication on Toutiao. So like the information spread all over China and more people get know that this our brand. So what we aim at is that to let your brand being noticed and impressed by Chinese young people, then to attract them to come. Yes, there is an example here. And I want to show you one more set of data. During the Labor Day holiday, the domestic tourism industry shows that a rapid recovery trend. And during the 5 days holiday, there are 115 million people went to travel and spend nearly like 50 billion RMB during the 5 days holiday. So maybe Chinese people now get prepared and really desire to go to travel and they maybe really have a strongest desire to travel nowadays. And in China, we often say one word is that 没有一个冬天不会过去，没有一个夏天不会到来. It's like no winter won't pass and no summer won't come. And we all know that I'm longing forward to Singapore already and hope that to see you in Singapore one day and hope the COVID-19 passed soon. And thank you much for the listening, and that's all for my sharing, Nikki. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yanjie. Thank you so much for sharing a bit more on Bytedance. I'm sure now everybody have a deeper understanding of Bytedance, as well as also some ideas on how to create engaging content. Before I move on to our next presenter for today, I would like to share a few administrative information with yourself. So number one being not just the recording of today's session, but also the presentation material will be made available on our corporate website at a later date. More details will be shared once ready. The second thing I'd like to share is that unfortunately, because we have a really packed morning, I'm afraid we won't be able to take a Q&A. However, we will leave the contact details of both STB as well as our wonderful presenters today at the end of the session. So at any time, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop us a note. So next up, I would like to invite Trip.com to do their sharing. So Trip.com, you probably don't need me to introduce further, but they are a provider of travel services, including content, accommodation, and customized tour, just to name a few. So please to invite Mr. Edison Chen, General Manager of Destination Marketing, to share more on Trip.com and as well as offer some tips on how you can adapt to the evolving travel landscape. So I'm passing over the time to Edison. Edison, please.
Hi, morning, Nikki. Yeah, thank you, Nikki. And thank you very much for Singapore Tourism Board offer us this very good opportunity to have some of the discuss with all the industry partners in Singapore. And in fact, I really hope I can meet up with you guys face to face, but unfortunately at this difficult time, we can just, exchange our idea and discuss a little bit about how we can work together to go through this very difficult, challenging times online. But we believe if we can work together, we really can work through this very challenging time. Okay, without any further delay, I just want to start my sharing today. And first of all, I just want to tell you guys a very exciting news. I think most of you guys should know Ctrip have already changed our group name to Trip.com Group last year, and we have already celebrated our 20 years anniversary last year as well. So by this upgrade, which means Trip.com Group will be not only focused on China market, but as well as the global market. But of course, China market will be still our very important market for overall group companies. All right, so today I have 3 different agendas to discuss and share with you guys. And first one, I just want to do a very quick update for Trip.com Group, where we are, what is some of our latest performance and achievements. And the second part, I want to share with some of the very interesting case studies with you guys. And also it's a very good case study for you to know about our capabilities to working with other partners. And the last part is I think most of you guys will be very care about during this difficult time, how we can really work together, what we can doing to help all the industry partners to really outcome for this COVID-19 difficulties. All right, so for Trip.com Group, this is a very simple introduction. We are founded in 1999. Our headquarters in Shanghai. We have branch office in 95 Chinese cities, and we have also have 22 overseas cities branch office. In 2019, we have already achieved 8,650 billion RMB in terms of GMV, and we have about 200. We have already covered 200 over countries and areas. We have 1.4 million hotels available on our platforms and 2 million over airline-related products. And our registered member nowadays have already achieved 400 millions. And just what I mentioned, Trip.com Group have already celebrated our 20 years anniversary last year. And throughout the journey, there's a lot of investment and partnership together with all the industry partners. I just want to highlight some of the key investment. Skyscanner is one of very important strategic investment in Europe market, and Make My Trip is also a very important investment in India market. We also invest a little bit in China Eastern Airline, and Qunao is also part of Trip.com Group. And another very important investment is just recent last year, TripAdvisor is also become a part of our group company. And if you're talking about some of the performance, up to date, we have accumulated 3 billion application downloads. Our Weibo followers is about 4.8 million. 70% of our booking and transaction will be happen on the mobile application. And our WeChat followers is about 20 million. And as I mentioned earlier, we have already upgraded our brand from Ctrip to Trip.com, which means globalization will be our very important objective and mission for the next few years. So by doing that, it be very clear identified Ctrip, which means it's Xiechen, will be focused on China market. With Trip.com, will be focused on the global markets such as Singapore, Japan and Korea, Southeast Asia and Europe, American and Australia as well. If you're talking about the our product, the so-called the service platform design, we are actually based on the consumer user journey. We have been having the products and services that we helping and service for the consumer needs before the trip. We have the product and services is designed just for during the trip, and we also have certain sections is probably designed for after the trip. So I just list up some of the example, like you can use Trip Moment, our precise marketings, travel consultants, even our TripAdvisor China platform to target for those before trip demands. And of course, we also have varied choices of products which are available for all the passengers and travelers to book, including flights, hotels, vacation packages. If you're talking about the product range, we do provide one-stop travel services. And the products including like flight tickets, hotel, attractions, day tours, experience, and the transportations. I also list down some of the examples, like we do have the day tours, we do have the products just a very unique experience-wise. We also have group packages. We also have FIT packages. Of course, you still can book a hotel standalone, and you can buy an airline ticket as well. So our key objective for our platform is, so long as the services and product is related to travels, you can get it from Ctrip platform or Trip.com platform. All right, so I don't want to spend too much time on to highlight too much about the company profile. I want to spend more time to share with you guys what have we did and what we can do in the future. So now I want to give you guys some of the case study. Then we work with some of the tourism partners in Singapore. So the first highlight cases is in 2019, we're working with Singapore Tourism Board to launch a very comprehensive campaign, which including online and offline, content development, and some of the new resources and methods. So in aligned with the Singapore Tourism Board branding, which is a passion made possible, we do launch a 心想事成 campaign. We build out a very specific campaign page, which including all the contents, different things, products, activities, great offers, with different channel and media resources to promote this campaign page. Consumer able to have a very comprehensive understanding about the Singapore in general. And of course, we do have a lot of different offers and product discounts for consumer to choose. Of course, in the meanwhile, we also do a lot of co-branding campaigns with Singapore Tourism Board. Just like last year, we do launch a very extremely high exposure campaign with Singapore Tourism Board, aligned with Ctrip 20 years anniversary. We do launch a series of offline media activities. This is some of the images cases that we have a screenshot for some of the metro station. And other than the offline, I believe nowadays content will be very, very important. So, and instead of the traditional travel user generation, nowadays vlog is getting more popular. So we are also working together with the Singapore Tourism Board to create contents. All right, so this is one of the cases that we did for Singapore Tourism Board. I can just show a little bit about this video.
1分钟带你打卡最好玩的新加坡。来城市花园一定要逛逛植物园。新加坡植物园被列为世界文化遗产，整个园区超大，5小时才能逛完。重点是颜值巨高，还免门票，名副其实的 ins 拍照圣地，还能偶遇各种小动物哦。遇到了一只蜥蜴。在新加坡科学艺术馆，随便买张票都能逛到超惊艳的展，色彩缤纷的小印度阿拉伯街很适合摆拍，还能体验最浓厚的异域风情。还有福康宁的龙之穴、哈之巷、旧喜街警察局，数不清的网红打卡点。推荐租一辆当地的特色边车，让老司机带你逛新加坡。小绵羊电车招摇过市。新加坡国家美术馆非常适合文青打卡，我们还遇到了吴冠中的展哦。新加坡摩天环景轮全球10大摩天轮之一，在新加坡著名的唐人街牛车水可以买到超平价的特色美食和纪念品，还偶遇了可爱的粉丝朋友。希望在旅途路上遇见你哦。
All right, so as what you can see, we do invite a very famous key opinion leader in China, and we create a very interesting and very nice content. And this content will be broadcast to different channels, not only within the Ctrip platform. We also have a lot of external media platform to promote this content. Of course, the one of the advantage, one advantage that we have is Ctrip always able to connect the content together with the conversion. So we also develop related products and services and data experience based on this vlog. And of course, the last part is we also launched another very interesting things. It's called 听见旅行, which means before you go to the trip, you can have this experience and first, which means you can have a little bit about the understanding, introduction about the destination and attraction or whatever places before you really go into the place. So with this very comprehensive marketing campaign with online and offline content and some of the user generations event, we are able to achieve a very good result for last year. So this is the case that we're working with Singapore Tourism Board. And I want to share another very interesting case that we are working together with the Changi Airport Group. I don't know whether Kiwei is listening or anyone from Changi Airport Group is listening. Thank you very much for the supporting last year. And in fact, we have already working with Changi Airport for almost about 3-4 years. And we did launch a very interesting IP. It's called Half City, Half Island, which means twin city campaigns. So the key idea is launch this half island, half city is we want to create the Changi Airport as the hub of the transportation. And Changi Airport are able to connect two places and by using their services. So we have already created and built up this IP for almost about 3 years. And last year, we even have a lot of new creative idea to doing this campaign. First of all, we upgrade our brand to twin city campaigns. We even have a very specific logo and brandings for this key objective. So we're still trying to combine two places together, Singapore plus another islands, because we still want all the travelers can have different experience. Singapore do have sightseeing, city, shopping experience, but travelers may also looking for island experience. So this is the key idea for twin cities. By launching this objective and ideas, we are able to attract more visitors, not only going to Singapore and also transit from Singapore. So transit passengers also able to provide extra values and extra contribution to Singapore or even to Changi Airport. Another very creative thing we launched is the flagship store. So we're working together with the Singapore Changi Airport to launch their official flagship store on Ctrip platform. With this flagship store, consumer able to access this store on 365-degree base. And every day, you are able to watch the content, you are to view the videos, you are able to book the products. And every different season, we are launch different promotions, including the products, shoppings, and we also introduce all the facilities and services offered by Changi Airport. And we also do have some of the offline theme stores. We selected some of the popular offline stores to decorate as a Singapore or even like a Changi Airport. And with a very specific product promotion offer in certain offline store, which also helping Changi Airport to create a very good branding awareness purpose. And roadshow will be one of the very success element that we used for last year. And you can see from the pictures, the interactive and engagement from the consumer is super high. And we offer a very good choices of products, special offers, free gift, games, by using different kind of methods to let all the consumer to have better understanding about the Changi Airport and also about the Singapore. And last but not least, another very important partners, Resort World Sentosa. And thank you very much for Jenny and your China team. I don't know whether you're in the forum or not. Oh, sorry. Last year we do a lot of discussion, a lot of idea sharing. So end of the day, we come out with this very, very interesting campaign together with Resort World Sentosa. And even we utilize a lot of very exclusive resources to working with Resort World Sentosa. And first of all, Trip Moment campaign. Trip Moment is a very new sections launched by Ctrip just a few years ago. This is something very focused on the content development. We do a campaign through the Trip Moment campaign, Trip Moment channel. We upload a lot of interesting contents, videos, pictures, come with a lot of POI informations, product booking function as well. So by doing the Trip Moment campaign, we can notice that the viewership and engagement with the consumer is increased a lot. And another very exclusive resources that we use is we even working with the mobile device, Android phone. So we launched a very interesting creative images on certain model of the mobile phone. So when people lock their phone, they are able to, the beautiful images of the Reservoir Sentosa will be displayed and showcased on the consumer mobile phone. So I think this is a very unique, very exclusive resources when we're working together with Reservoir Sentosa. And in the meanwhile, we are also built a flagship store with Reservoir Sentosa. We all understand Reservoir, they have variety products, hotels, attractions, restaurants. So by doing this flagship store, we are able to provide one-stop and one-shop services. We can introduce not only just about the hotel, but also about the attractions, services, restaurants, shops within the Reservoir Sentosa. I can say we achieve a very exciting result in terms of the ticket sales, room night we generate from the flagship store. So I believe for the coming years, we are still continue to work with Reservoir Sentosa in terms of flagship store or trip moment or even other some of the media resources. And don't forget, for last year, we especially to work with Reservoir Sentosa about the Chinese New Year campaigns. And the campaign launched just a few weeks before the Chinese New Year. In fact, the trend is really good. If nothing happens end of the June, end of the January this year, I believe we can receive a record high result for the sales. But yeah, unfortunately, the campaign will be stopped halfway. It's because of the COVID-19. But I believe for next year, we can still continue the Chinese New Year campaign as well. All right, so this is some of the, these are three very important cases that we're working with the Singapore partners. Why I use Singapore partners as our case study is because I think most of you guys will be more easier to relate it, and it will be more easy to understand what we are trying to do. All right, so back to now. We understand starting from end of January, and travel industry is really facing a very, very challenging time and difficult. I think most of your guys, your business down to the bottom, even including C-Trip. So what we are trying to do, what we can do to save our business. So creative, innovative become very, very important. So for the last part, I just want to share with you guys some of the data from our platform and some of the very interesting, innovative and creative things that we do to save the industry or even save ourselves. First of all, we look at this table. I think this is quite encouraging data. We look at the graph from end of the January to February. This will be an extremely bad time for us. The business down to the bottoms, as I mentioned. But starting from March, April, and May, due to the well control by the China government, our domestic travel are able to starting to recover and pick up. So up to May, looking at the table, if you're talking about the hotel booking, we have already almost recovered the booking in China domestic market 80% compared to pre-COVID-19 level. So I think we'll be just taking about another 2-3 months. We are able to recover 100% if you're talking about the hotel bookings. And now we look at a little bit about the traveler's profile. Look at the left-hand side. This is a study about the travelers going to Singapore. So we realize the post-80s, almost about 43%, post-90s, 24%, post-70s, only about 24%. So if you're talking about the C-Trip platform, in general-wise, most of the travelers going to Singapore is between age amount like 25 to 40 years old. And if you're looking at the right-hand side, this is the profile for the domestic travel after the COVID-19. Almost about 57% of the travelers are all post-90s, and 27% are post-80s. So from our study, we realized after this COVID-19, the first target audience we should talking to is post-90s. They will become the main travelers in domestic travel in China in the first phases for the domestic travel recovery. I think this will be very similar related to the outbound travel. We also believe post-90s or some of the post-80s will become the main population for the outbound travel for the first phase of the recovery as well. So for all the industry partners, if you're looking at your product and your services, do think about it. Is your products or your services is really suitable for those Chinese travelers which age group is between 25 or 40 years old? What is their needs? What is their concern? So I also want to share with you guys some of the market research that we did. This is some of the very key motivation and element for the Chinese travelers. If you want to encourage them to travel after COVID-19, what is their main concern? 20% of them, safety issue. 40% of them, unique experience. 15% is talking about special offer for the attractions. Incentive from the hotel and airline will be the 10%. And special promotion from travel agents offers given is about 80%. And annual leave, of course, how many holidays you have is also a very key important method. So when you do your own planning, your product development, your service development, do look at all these key elements, because these are the concern that for those Chinese travelers, they may think about after the COVID-19. So I think this is quite useful data, because even at the current stage, at the from the C-Trip perspective, we are also trying to upgrade our products, upgrade our services, redesign our services, even redesign our booking procedures according to the market change and the new trend. All right, so just as a conclusion, for the new trend, products will be very important. So your product must be very unique. Your product experience must be really tell the difference from the rest. Your product can help the customer to provide one-stop services solutions. And if you're talking about services, flexibility bookings and effective guarantees is also one of the key issues. And communications is also very important. How to deliver all these messages, how to communicate with all the travelers, and how to give assurance to all the travelers is also become very, very important after this COVID-19. All right, so previously some of the data sharing and some of the market trend. And now I just want to do a sharing about what the C-Trip doing right now. I think maybe most of your guys, or maybe some of your guys, have already noticed our boss, which is James Liang, our chairman, is very, very active recently to do a live broadcast show. And we do achieve a very successful result. So I try to explain a little bit more about why we are trying to do this and what kind of benefits it can bring to the partners and as well as the travelers. First of all, the boss live broadcast is mainly focused on few areas. One is pre-sales. One, we need to have still supporting from the government and our partners. We also need to have elements about the KOL and celebrities. Of course, the partners like hotel attractions and some of the other brands is very, very important. Up to date, we have already launched 14 live streaming shows, corporate with different domestic destinations. The total GMV we have already achieved from live streaming pre-sales is about 560 million RMB. So this is really a very exciting result we have already achieved. So Starting from the first live streaming show we launched on 23rd March, every week, our boss, James Leong, we're going to, we visit different destinations to launch different broadcasts. And of course, within the broadcast, we are trying to introduce about the destination. We are trying to introduce about the products we want to offer. Hotel were one of the very key products we always highlight in the live streaming broadcast. And some of the live streaming, as I mentioned, the live streaming will be focused on the pre-sales, discount, and we also offer free cancellation. With all those kind of consideration, to consumer, it becomes a risk-free, flexible booking experience, advanced bookings. So think about it. If your hotel, your attractions are also want to participate in this program, try to give better offers, better opportunities, better services, more flexibility in terms of bookings, free cancellation to the Chinese travelers. I think right now is a very good time for you guys to think about it, how to attract Chinese travelers in the current stage. Even the China and Singapore is still not fully open the board yet. How to benefit the local industry partners. Very exciting news. Just yesterday, last night, Trip.com Group have already launched our global recovery launch event, which means starting from today, we are not just focusing on the domestic travel. We are starting to focus on the global travel as well. And a very good news, I think this very first-hand news, I just want to share with all the industry partners in Singapore. The BOSS live streaming will be starting launch for the overseas market, which means we are not just doing on the domestic market, we are starting to do the overseas country as well. And the secret thing I can tell you guys is Singapore will have already in the list for the live streaming broadcast. So guys, if you don't want to miss these opportunities, you can contact me or you can contact our Trip.com Group Singapore teams located in Singapore. We are also looking for very good partners from hotel and attractions are able to offer a very good discount, because by doing that, you can explore your brand. And of course, you can receive the business as well. And in the meanwhile, it's a very, very good chances and channels to let you to really understand the travel needs and travel demand is still very high for the Chinese travelers. And for the live streaming broadcast event, we are not just promote and highlight in the Sutra platform itself. We also organize a lot of external media and PR channels to broadcast. So think about it. If you are able to participate in this program, you are able to receive a huge exposure from the live streaming program. You are able to have the chances to receive a lot of pre-sales during live streaming programs. So think about it and prepare for the Singapore live streaming event. All right, so this is some of the highlights for the past few events. The Sanya, for the total room nights we sell during the Sanya live streaming is about 30,000 room nights. And for Hangzhou, we do sell almost about 13,000 room nights just within 1.5 hours. And we have different kind of ways to working together with us. Branding, exposures, product offers, pre-bookings, interactive, a free gift, free shopping vouchers, whatever things. We have a variety of choices of cooperation ways to working together with other partners in Singapore. All right, I just do a final summarize. So our job is trying to create opportunities and platform to really working with all the partners hand on hand, because we are only able to walk through this difficulty together. So I believe our job is to create a better platform and better opportunities to invest the best resources with our partners. No matter your objective is to create content, building new contents, or your objective is to drive conversion, pre-sales, or you also want to talk a little bit about public benefit activities. With varied choices and varied objectives, you are always can look working with Ctrip or Trip.com, not only for China market as well as for the global market. So if you want to know more details, of course, after these forums, you can even talk to me or talk to some of my guys in my teams, even our Trip.com Singapore branch office as well. And if you do have any question, we still can have a more detailed discussion after that. All right, so last part, other than the three major objectives, POI content, live broadcast products, and drive conversion, as I repeat again and again, this is some of the very key important elements we can do right now. And don't forget, Singapore is a very general and kind, a very popular destination still within the consumer dreaming list. So don't miss these opportunities. I believe the difficult time will get it done very, very soon. And we hope we really can have very brighter futures by working together with your guys. All right, so thank you everyone. This is my sharing today. So we can do more discussion after that. All right, thanks.
Thank you very much, Edison, for the very insightful presentation. And like Edison highlighted earlier, we will share the contact details of not just Trip.com, but all of our presenters, as well as STB at the end of the session. So we will allow you some time to take a photo of all the contact details, and you can reach out directly to either the presenters or us at the end of the session. So thank you once again so much to all our lovely presenters. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I would just like to recap that actually we won't have enough time to do a live Q&A, but I do have one final question to all of our presenters today. So can I please request for all the presenters to turn on your video right now? And be prepared to also unmute your mic shortly. So the last question I have, and on behalf of all the Singapore stakeholders, so it was a very insightful presentation today, and there's a lot of information for us to absorb and also to take a hard look at our business and look at what are the core needs or marketing gaps that we're facing in engaging the Chinese travelers. So one last question I have for all our presenters today would be if there is one final advice that you would like to offer to all of our Singapore stakeholders to prepare themselves for market recovery, what would that be? I'll probably go around the table on this question, and maybe I'll start with Bytedance. Yanjie, would you mind sharing with us what are your thoughts on this?
Okay. And to prepare for the market recovery, and I think for Douyin, is what we should do is to get communication with people and guide connection with them. Because actually Douyin is a platform to let people know you and notice you and remember you and then to learn for you. So maybe we can ask ourselves some questions, like whether your place is the first place people want to go and to play after the epidemic. And can people still remember you or get strong desire to go to you after the long suspense? And what is a key thing that you can attract people to come, but not others? So what we should do, I think, is to rethink the brand insights and find the special brand stories. And it can be a history knowledge, or it can be a cultural things. It can be a special lovely experience and some route, or maybe it can be a very funny guidance as well. So try to find them and to start to use the videos to record them and be a good storyteller, and then to make the consistently contents, maybe on Douyin, maybe on other platforms, to communicate with the people. Yeah, so that's my answer. If only one thing that you can do, I think, is find your brand insights and just tell the stories. Yeah.
Thank you, Yanjie. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Now, can I please invite Addison? What is that one final advice you would like to offer to all the Singapore stakeholders to prepare themselves for market recovery? Addison, please.
I think because of this COVID-19's travelers' travel behavior, even searching behavior, their demands and their needs may change a lot. So for all industry partners, you really need to rethink about it, how to change your product, your services, which are able to suitable for the consumer needs after the COVID-19. Because previously, maybe your product is fantastic. Maybe your product, your services is good for Chinese travelers or all the travelers around the world. But after this, rethink about it, redesign your product and your services which more suitable for the consumer needs and market change. And get ready and think about it, some of the more innovative and creative ideas. We still can use certain traditional way to promote your product and services, but nowadays very important, especially for China market, technology and change every day, and new idea, new technology, new innovative coming every day. So if you really want to catch more attention from the Chinese travelers, you need to really study more about what happenings in China market, and I need to enhance again. Change your product, change your services, upgrade your product and services will be very, very important for all the industry partners. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Addison, for sharing your advice and thoughts with the Singapore stakeholders. I would now like to check in with Michael if you have any thoughts that you may want to leave with our Singapore stakeholders today.
Yeah, thanks, Nikki. I think we spoke a lot about digitization today. Obviously, to go digital or not to go is not really the question today. Many merchants have been asking me, where do I start, right, in this whole thing? I think there are two things to consider. One, obviously, I completely agree with Edison, what he said. Start with the user, right? We all need to wear the marketing hat in this scenario. The most important decision really is about how we rediscover the user. First, figure out this big who question, because some business may welcome new types of users, and other business may see changes in the profile of their existing users. This means we need to adapt, right? We need to change our offer and how we actually deliver them. That's a very easy point to start. And the other thing is, when we think about where do I start, I think it's important that we start with an end in our mind, which is, in the end, we need to drive conversion. So throughout the entire exercise, every step of the way, we have to serve the end purpose of driving conversion. So how do we do that? I think that is a question I would really ask all the attendees today to really think deep on.
Thank you very much, Michael. I'm sure the stakeholders will take this through once they leave the webinar today. Last but not least, can I please invite Mr. Derek to share what are your final thoughts or advice that you might want to leave with our Singapore stakeholders today to better prepare themselves for market recovery? Derek, please.
Okay, thank you, Nikki. I totally agree with Michael. In the context of the COVID-19 epidemic, the interaction between tourists and the tourism operators has gradually shifted from the traditional offline channel to online channel. Even for the online channel, there are multiple choices, such as social media, for example, Weibo in China, and a third-party platform such as Alipay, and own websites and mobile apps. How to make the real-time insights of tourists according to their behaviors and preference from the multiple touch points, being able to do the customer acquisition, activation, retention, and revenue and referral in a more data-driven way, provide better service and user experience to further launch the precise marketing campaign to increase their consumptions. This is a direction of the digital transformation for all tourism companies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Derek. Thank you for all the presenters for sharing your final piece of advice with our Singapore stakeholders today. So again, join me in thanking Michael, Derek, Yanjie, as well as Edison for taking precious time off their very, very busy day to join us for this China Ready webinar today. Thank you once again, and thank you all to the stakeholders for joining us today. So before I wrap up the session, we'd just like to share with you as well in this challenging time, STB is also very happy to lend support to our Singapore stakeholders. So I'd like to draw your attention to the Marketing Partnership Program, MPP for short, and the Experience Step Up Fund, ESF for short. So MPP supports international marketing initiatives by our stakeholders, and the Experience Step Up Fund look at supporting stakeholders' initiative to digitally enhance their businesses as well as products. So we'll be looking forward to also receive your queries in terms of whether you might be keen to adopt some of these schemes. And last but not least, I would like to leave you with this slide with the contact details of our presenters, so you can speak to them to find out more about how to utilize Douyin, and especially when Edison mentioned the 独家 exclusive about Boss Live show with us today, you can feel free to contact him as well. Then there's also Alibaba. I think you can feel free to direct your questions for both Michael's and Derek's presentation today to Angela. And for any additional question that you might have, please direct it to STB. We'll be happy to take them. And really, the last task of the day is, could you please help us with a short survey? I promise it's really 5 minutes, just to have help us understand whether today's session was useful to you in catering to the Chinese marketing landscape, and to let us know whether you might want to hear more of such similar webinar or workshop in the future. Your feedback is very important, critical to us, and it will also determine whether we can have a China Ready Workshop 2.0. So thank you once again, and we have another session tomorrow. We will feature MaFengWo, Meituan Dianping and Tencent. For those of you who have registered, I'll see you same time. And then just to round it a bit, just to a bit round off, is to share that all the presentation material as well as the recording of today's sessions as well as the contact details will be made available on STB's corporate website. We will share that once ready, so do give us a few more days to work on that, and we'll let you know once that is ready. In the meantime, please help us fill up the survey, and if I would just do a quick summary of today's sharing of all of our presenters today with regard to marketing campaign, I think if anything, I would like to summarize it as 4 R's of marketing. So really it's about right person, identifying your target segment. I think what both Yanjie, Edison, as well as Michael and Derek have both briefly touched on today is that you need to know who do you want to speak to. So not just everybody, but try to narrow it down to who is your target audience. Right message. So like Yanjie shared about telling your brand story. What is that one core message or brand imagery you want to leave with the audience for them to remember you by? Because remember, they have a very short attention span, about 3 seconds. And then also at the right time, because you need to understand when is the best time to share your information. Would it be during the brand awareness phase, or is it better for them to hear about your business or product only when they're in Singapore? So look at that as well. And last but not least, of course, out of all the great platforms that you've heard from today, as well as tomorrow, which one of them works best for your business? So with that, I'll leave you, and thank you very much for joining the China Ready webinar, session 1 today. Again, please help us with a short survey, a 5-minute survey. I'll leave the screen on for additional about 5 minutes so that you could help us with the survey and to take a photo of the contact details. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.